I wear my grills? Do I wear my grills with this?
As we approach.
Welcome to 19.3, boys.
What's up? What's up, TST?
Look how many Asians we've got on the panel
Asian
today.
slash biracial.
Yeah, man. This is going to be an interesting video.
Sick.
All right, so workout came out today. It's a 10-minute workout. Has a combination of lunges, step-ups, handstand push-ups, and finishes with a 200-foot handstand walk. Right away, my first thought was that this one was probably not going to aerobically hurt that much. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
The three of you guys just did it, right?
Out of the three that were released so far, this is definitely the least aerobically taxing, I would say.
Yeah, I think this is in large part a very skill-based leaning workout.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
So, essentially for people completing this workout RX, this is going to be a race to whoever can complete the longest distance of a handstand walk. Obviously, it is finishable. Most people probably won't finish the entire handstand walk. 200 feet at the end of that thing is a lot to do, especially after holding a dumbbell, the amount of handstand push-ups, etc., etc. That's a lot of work to do at the end of the workout. If you are a candidate to finish or to get close to finishing, you have to consider your strategy and what your handstand walk is going to look like. Can you give your quick summary of it, how it felt from beginning to end?
Yeah, so for me, I know handstand push-ups, especially strict handstand push-ups, are a little bit more of a limiter. So I knew that I had to kind of pace myself in the beginning because it's really easy to be like, oh, it's only 200 feet, lunges, the dumbbell's light, it's easy to just go out hard. But I knew I needed to set myself up for the strict handstand push-ups, and I really think that's kind of where you make or break this workout, regardless of where you are as an athlete. So I think just devising the best scheme possible to get through those 50 is really what's the best approach.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I wouldn't quite say that the first two exercises are filler. I called the wall balls filler in the first workout. I wouldn't say that for this. The reason is, just like you said, I feel like those first two exercises are so easy to do and accomplishable for most people at a really high pace. They might go out like they're doing an open workout.
Yeah, they're deceptively easy, so I think it's easy to just rush through them. Lactic acid builds up when you do the lunges and step-ups really fast, and it's just easy to have your heart rate at like 180 when you start the handstand push-ups. So
yeah, so again, if you are a candidate to finish, if you are like, a gymnast, like someone like Sean or some other of our athletes who follow the program, regardless, I would say you can't go out too fast. You don't at any point want to let your breathing pattern dictate what the rest of your pace is going to be. That's not so comparable to week 1, but that is comparable to what we talked about in week 2. Is you at no point do you want your breathing to be at such a high rate that is going to dictate your pace, which will then dictate your heart rate. That's definitely something that needs to stay in control from the beginning. The reason is the handstand push-ups are going to be so muscularly fatiguing that if you get to the point where blood is filling up your upper body so fast, you're not going to recover from that. I'll also say that I think it's important that your gym, well, if you can set up your gym so transitions are smooth and you're not running from one end of the lunges to the box, etc., etc. So the way we set it up, I think, is I can't imagine a better setup. Would you guys agree?
No, that was the way we had it.
Yeah.
It's easy to look at this workout too and see that it's a handstand push-ups and see the number 50 next to strict handstand push-ups, and that's such a high skill movement that you forget about the lunges and you forget about the box step-ups. But maintaining a good pace on those and making sure that you're not blowing up your shoulders before you go into the handstand push-ups is super important. So don't underestimate the speed at which you do your lunges and the speed at which you do your box step-ups.
Yeah, so Mitch he's a weightlifter. He's been weightlifting full-time for the last like 3-4 years at this point. You do some conditioning, but not a ton of CrossFit.
Just so I don't get fat.
Watching Sean do the lunges, the lunges and the step-ups, it looked like they got hard but manageable. For you two guys, it looked like
laboring.
Yeah, the end of the lunges and
smoked.
those box step-ups were crushing.
Yeah.
So as far as the lunges goes, I think obviously like having a stacked position for the dumbbell is important, but you don't want to have a crazy grip on the dumbbell. You definitely don't want your thumb to be overly active. If your thumb's going to be overly active, so are your forearm and your tricep. So you need to be locked out, but you kind of want a passive locked out dumbbell position. I also think switching is important too.
Yes.
At first, when we watched the video, I saw that Lauren didn't switch, and I thought that was a mistake. I assumed they would switch every 25. After watching you guys, I feel like 50 is probably a good place to switch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend keeping the dumbbell in the same position all the time. I think switching is important. But like I said, I think the grip is very important. Trying to handstand walk with your grip fatigue is not easy. Handstand push-ups aren't terrible with grip fatigue, but the movement of hand placement
right after,
it's
definitely rough.
is going to be tough. I would say also with the lunges, you would want to consider a lengthy cyclical pattern on the lunges. You don't want to, again, allow your movement pattern to dictate your breathing pattern. This is where you're going to establish like your mantra, so to speak, or your pattern, your pace for the rest of the workout. Would you guys agree with as far as the lunges go?
Yeah, absolutely.
It might even be good to, when you're warming up, to take, not with a dumbbell overhead, but just to map out how many lunges it takes you to get to that 25 feet or that 50 feet, whatever's marked out. So you're counting your head along the way, because there was a couple of moments, probably just one, where I finished like with my toe right before the line. It's just like that's one extra lunge and time and energy it takes. So if you can figure out like the number 8 or the number 9, however many it is, and keep that same pace, then you're going to save yourself an extra 3-4 reps, which is going to be seconds and maybe another handstand push-up.
I totally agree. I think that's a huge part. As far as the step-ups go, we had these guys step up using the corner of the box.
Yeah.
As far as the standard reads, from what I can tell, that's totally okay, and I think that is going to be much easier than stepping up facing the side of the box.
Absolutely.
I would also say, as far as the dumbbell goes, it's funny. When the announcement came out, Lauren had her dumbbell on the back, Pacelli had it on one side, all the girls in the room had a different opinion. Some of the guys, oh, that's stupid, that's it. Look, it's similar to the lunge workout from a couple years ago. It's similar to the dumbbell year. It's similar to the front squat or the dumbbell squat workout from last year. I think it's going to be in large part your position of preference. Some of the guys with very tight shoulders are going to have a really hard time holding a dumbbell in this position. I thought what Lauren tried, having a dumbbell on her back, was interesting, and that is definitely a strong position if you can be relaxed in that position with your traps not so lit up. You tried that at first.
I actually like that a lot. It just works for me. I put it on my back and I was kind of switching hands while each head of the dumbbell was kind of resting in that gap between my traps and wherever this is.
I think that you can develop any reason why a certain position is going to help you or hurt you, but it's going to be based on everyone's own anatomy. So I don't necessarily think that there's going to be a better, like a right or wrong way. I don't think that's very black and white. What I will say though is you don't want to have a bicep loaded or forearm loaded position with your hand, with whatever hand is holding the dumbbell.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you have, again, kind of like a loose grip, just making sure that the dumbbell stays in place.
Yeah, if you're working to hold it there, then it's not a good movement. You need to figure out a way. It needs to rest there, and you shouldn't be working super hard. Your working is going to be your lunges, stepping up onto the box, and back down again, and you don't need to worry about what's up top, because after that comes the handstand push-ups.
Yeah, and to your point, like you said about the lunges, I think this is where you should take your opportunity to play with that position of preference. Yeah. Take all the time in the world to warm up, figure out where that is, figure out what your pace is, and like we said with the lunges are going to dictate your pace, I think, for the box step-ups as well. None of you, the two of you guys didn't take big breaks on the step-ups at all.
No.
You did them unbroken.
Yeah, as far as that, I don't think there really is a reason to, unless you're really, really tired and your step up slow down a lot.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're resting and you're not really using a lot of energy to hold it up there, I think you might as well just keep going. If you slow down a little bit, so be it.
Our shorter athletes might have to take breaks, like Sean.
I switched twice, and to be honest, I didn't feel like the weight was heavy at all. And obviously, me being the smallest athlete in the world, but. Like, at no point did I ever feel like I had to, like, really grip it. I actually held it, just kind of, like, resting my hand on it. I think as long as you're keeping it very close to your body, it kind of just sits there. Yeah. It's just, like, tiring doing all those fucking step-ups.
Yeah, especially coming off the lunges.
When I do think about it, I probably could have shot for just switching, to be honest.
If you were to do it again, I would say that you got to slow down on the lunges.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to make your money on the handstand push-ups, and I think you got caught up with seeing how fast these guys went on lunges, and you were trying to race them. And
I definitely got, like, excited knowing that I'd have to catch up, but that as soon as you said it, I was, like, already, like, fuck.
Yeah, right around, like, the 75th foot, you were already slowing down. Sure. So let's move on to the strict handstand push-ups. I think... similar to last week, you can reverse engineer this thing and almost identify when you want to finish and what rep scheme or how you want to finish. I agree with you. When I saw 50, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But what I will say is, I mean, you're a freak with handstand push-ups, so you're not a great example of this. But for you two guys, they didn't really look as hard as I thought they were going to look. You guys looked a lot better. Probably because you guys broke them up really well from the beginning. I wouldn't say you guys made big errors on those, on your strategy for them.
Yeah, I think I will say like the last 10 probably took as long as the first maybe like 22. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to go out and do a big set and then be down in singles right away. I think you want to know like what your max set is, be realistic about how good you are under fatigue, because there's kind of a big difference with that too. Some people have really good max sets, but they're not as good under fatigue. So I think there's a big difference between knowing that.
Yeah. You have to be honest with yourself too. Like if your best set of unbroken strict handstand push-ups is 20 and that's when you're fresh, then you know it's okay, because at first, even at fatigue coming off the box, my first set of 3 felt really easy, and it's very easy when it feels easy in the beginning to just keep going and bust out a set of 8 or 10, and then you're right to singles after that. So I think understanding and being realistic with honest with yourself about how good of a skill strict handstand push-ups is for you, especially since it's strict and not kipping, is important. And you're better off starting out a little bit slower, and then if you still feel good at 30 and you have a little bit of time left and you think you can still do 3s, then 3 to 5, then ramp it up at the end. It's better to finish strong than to start really, you know, with a higher set and then taper off to singles.
Yeah, I mean, most people are going to resort to singles.
Right.
Like we always say, though, pretty much in any gymnastics workout, you don't want the workout to force you into singles. You want to give up singles well before that happens. So, for example, if Sean or Mitch would have started with a set of 10, they probably would have gone through 10, 5, and then you'd be doing singles.
Yeah.
And the workout would have kicked your ass and made you start performing single repetitions. Mm-hmm. By the time you get to that point, you're going to be doing singles with a lot of rest in between. Instead, start with multiple repeatable conservative sets with short rest and give up the singles before the workout forces you. And you finished doing singles and you didn't even really have any slow grinding shitty handstand push-ups. They looked really good from beginning to end, I would say. As far as that goes, again, like small, repeatable, quick sets. That's really all I have to say in regards to that. Yeah. Now for this guy, totally different scenario. It's freak of nature. He started with 25 unbroken strict handstand push-ups. But so his max set is, you said about 30 in the 30s?
Yeah, around there.
Your max set is closer to 50, maybe more?
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Right?
Yeah. But I can still manage, yeah.
I'm sure you could get there if you
That's what he got tonight, 50.
And it's quite funny because he got to the handstand push, or to the handstand walks very close to when you did.
Yeah.
And you broke your handstand push-ups quite a lot. You broke them up 3 times?
No, I just one.
No, your handstand push-ups.
Oh, handstand push-ups.
Unfair.
I think it was 25, then it was 25, then I did another 10, and then it kind of broke down. I honestly,
It kind of
knowing that I was going to burn out,
Yeah.
I started
Oh,
doing,
no.
I think 5 fast singles.
You did at the end? Okay.
And then I went, I think, another 3 and then 2.
Okay. So in regards to the handstand walk, that is the one area that I think you could have done a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because I think at that point you have to look at the 5-foot increments the same way that you look at singles. And you have, like, that's like the money round, so to speak. And if you have to kick up and kick down and just get 5 feet at a time at a certain point, it's probably going to be more efficient to do that than to grind through getting 15 feet or like that last extra 5 feet when you're on your hands when your handstand walk slows down tremendously.
Right.
That is the one area that I wish you would have done better. Again, reverse engineering that. You kicked down from your last walk and you had like 3 or 4 seconds left. You could have strategized that a little bit better to come down earlier and to get another 5 feet. That's being very picky. But I think that so far the Open, the last 2 years with the handstand walks, they give you a gift of being able to do that with the 5-foot increment rule so far.
I agree. I think if you're a fast handstand walker, sometimes you might need to know, like, okay, I'm going to set myself up and do 25 unbroken, but that's usually not the right scenario, like you were saying. I think the right plan is to do, because that's what I thought in my head, but I think, like you said, reverse engineering it, I'd probably plan on doing really fast 5 to 10 foot increments.
Yeah. Again, if you are the gymnast type and if handstand push-ups are going to be a huge strength for you and handstand walks are going to be a huge strength for you, do not race other people and do not race the clock to get there. Just get there when you're going to get there. Be slow, smooth, efficient, have a strong, good, consistent breathing pattern, and then you got to take advantage when the handstand push-ups come. But you got to get there with plenty of rest and plenty calm. Besides that, I think it's pretty straightforward. Is there anything else that you guys would advise? Nothing?
I'd say the other way around too. If your handstand push-ups are not your best suit, then give yourself time, and your workout is in the front part of the with the lunges and the box step-ups, so you can afford to go a little bit faster there, knowing that when you get to the handstand push-ups, and if you're a person that's going to start out with singles, you know rest is coming then. So take your rest then, don't take your rest during the lunges to give yourself plenty of time.
The last thing I would say, one of our coaches, David, pointed this out, split times are going to be huge on this one as well, because you'll probably see a ton of ties, especially people finishing those 50 handstand push-ups. Probably see a big tie there, so those split times are important. So consider that. We'll post the link to the warm-up in the comments section, and the long form of the version will be on our website as well. If you have any questions, you can hit us up at info@teamsoultraining.com. Thanks.